We have some major updates of mixed martial arts, starting with the news. Renato Moicano shared his feelings before his upcoming fight with Beneil Dariush. Recently, Moicano posted this to his X handle. He wrote, "I'm at the gym right now, and that's why I love fighting. No shortcuts, no handouts, nobody cares. Do the best you can with what you have. January 18th, time go. Suffer now. Thanks yourself later." Sean O'Malley had some words for Khabib. On the newest episode of the Sugar Show podcast, Sean O'Malley and his coach had a conversation about why fighters retire from combat sports. O'Malley coach talked about how the struggle of making weight is a big factor, and on the other hand, O'Malley had a different take. He said Khabib's parents were a major reason behind his decision to step away.
People don't talk about, what no one talks about is people retire because they don't want to make that weight cut anymore. That's a big reason a lot of these guys retire. Which is, I mean, it's kind of true.
And you can't go up weight class?
You're so used to cutting 30, 35 pounds that gets old when you're doing that 3 times a year. You don't understand the discipline you have to cut 30, 35 pounds off your body.
I feel like no one should be cutting that much. If
Majority of people
do. If you're cutting over 20, you should just go up a weight class. What you do? Like, what are you doing?
Like Khabib, he walks around clean 200.
Yeah, but he also retired.
Because he probably doesn't want to make 55, and he probably looks at the 170 division. And
I think his was his mom and dad. Like, that was a real thing. Like, his mom said no more fighting, and he said okay.
Yeah, because he was only 32, which is weird.
That is weird. That's 2 years from now. But dude, things change too. Like, I could be completely done with this.
Manager Ali Abdelaziz has some bold words for Alex Pereira. Ali recently appeared on MMA Junkie, where he talked about the UFC 311 event and a few other things. During the conversation, the topic of Islam fighting skills came up. Manager Ali made it clear that from 155 to 185 pounds, there's probably no fighter who can defeat Islam. Manager also added that even if Alex Pereira fought Islam at 205 pounds, Islam would still beat him. Listen to what he actually revealed.
You know, I don't think any man from 155 pounds to 185 pounds can beat Islam Makhachev. It doesn't exist. I believe 155, 170, 185, I think Islam can beat anybody on any given day. This is what I believe in, because what he showed me was the development, was the improvement, you know?
Yeah.
I think Islam will beat Alex Pereira at 205. I do. I swear everything I love. I think Islam Makhachev will beat Alex Pereira.
You don't think he's too short for 205?
He's just gonna take him down and finish him, submit him.
Yeah, I mean the style matchup is, you would think, very favorable, but
the style. But I think Alex Pereira can knock out anybody on the planet if he touch you. But I think Islam Makhachev is this good. He is this good. But it's a fight. Anything can happen per fight. But I'm talking about skills for skills.
Yeah.
I think he's one of the best fighter, most complete fighter we ever seen. It's not Demetrius Johnson. It's nobody. It's Islam Makhachev. Right now, Islam Makhachev is the man.
MMA referee John McCarthy warns Conor McGregor's $500 million boxing fight with Logan Paul might land him in legal trouble with the UFC. McCarthy says UFC might not let him do it because he's still under contract with them, and he has to follow their rules. If the UFC doesn't agree, Conor could get sued for breaking the contract. However, the fight hasn't been officially booked yet, but talks are happening, and it could take place in 2025 in India. On a recent episode of the Weighing In podcast, John McCarthy said, "The real question is his contract with the UFC. The only way for him to get that fight is they've got to allow it. If he signed that contract, they could sue him. Will he pay? Can they get the money from him? I can't say that, but does he want to go out in that fashion? That doesn't make sense. $250 million, he can make some strange choices." Belal Mohammad has joined Islam in Umar UFC 311 training camp. Recently, Khabib shared this to Insta handle. Robert Whittaker predicts how Khamzat Chimaev's 2025 will unfold. Recently, Whittaker released a new episode of his podcast where he discussed the best fights, knockdowns, and submissions of the year. During this, Whittaker reveals that in 2025, no one will be able to stop Khamzat from becoming a champion, and he will indeed become the champion.
What about middleweight? Who do you think is champ by the end of 2025?
I'd have to say Chimaev, eh? I'm going to say Chimaev. I just think, I think he's grappling so good. So good.
Joe Rogan says middleweight fighters have no chance against Khamzat Chimaev. After Khamzat beat Robert Whittaker, a lot of people, including Joe Rogan, are starting to see him in a whole new light. In one of his podcast episodes, Rogan described Khamzat as the real deal, pointing out his exceptional power and claiming no one can actually beat him. Joe also kind of throws a little shade at DDP and the other middleweights, implying that none of them could handle Khamzat. Though Joe Rogan didn't use those exact words, you can see how he expressed it.
Chimaev got the blade of his forearm across the jaw, and it was like just crushing those teeth, and it goes into his mouth. You saw the photo?
Yeah.
What it looks like?
Yeah, man. Do you think if that doesn't happen, Whittaker stands up?
Who knows? I mean, Chimaev was smothering him. Whittaker looked exhausted.
It was very early in the fight, too.
Yep, first round. I mean, it's just the amount of technique that Khamzat has and the intensity of his attack is unlike anybody else. He's so talented. He's more than big enough for those guys. He's huge. He's a big guy. He's good, man. It was so relentless and overwhelming. And when Robert got up once, Khamzat dove on him again and had him down again in a second. So it's demoralizing.
Yeah. Reminded me of Khabib as well, where like you get up, you get straight back down, and then you just run out of energy, right?
Maybe even more intense, because maybe even more dominant. You know, like to do that to Whittaker like that, a guy who's a world champion, Khamzat just charged in, dove in, got him down, and mauled him. Mauled him until he broke his face.
Do you think it's different with Duplessis? Because he can wrestle.
What he did to Whittaker was just, nobody thought that was going to happen. That was crazy.
That was scary.
Yeah.
That was scary.
And he's good, man. He's good.
Here's how MMA community reacted to Joe Rogan's remark. I am still waiting for the day when people learn to stop underestimating DDP. According to everyone, he was supposed to lose his last 4 fights, 33-0. Pro kickboxing record, double division champ in another organization, middleweight champ, and undefeated in the UFC. This will be a good fight against Khamzat, but to say DDP is the underdog is absolutely nuts. Sean has a chance against DDP, DDP has a chance against Khamzat, Sean has no chance against Khamzat. People keep forgetting DDP also KO'd Robert Whittaker and submitted Izzy. That man's versatility and style is a problem for anyone. This shows how phenomenal Kamaru Usman is. We have never seen frightening, undefeated contenders from that region of the world like Khamzat during GSP's time. They are insanely strong and have insane technique. I was disappointed with Robert when he lost, but now I just think Khamzat is just that good. He is the real deal. And that's all for today's update. Hit that subscribe button and make sure to press notification bell so you get regular updates on what's going on here in MMA world. And most importantly, please take care of yourself.